Hi everybody, welcome to the steps exercise in our Shades and Shadows worksheet. We're going to start with number 4. That will be our new number 1. There's a couple things to remember while we do this. We're going to go back and forth in kind of a ping-pong linear fashion. We're going to start with our plan view like always. That will be step number 1. And we're going to ping-pong up to the vertical of the bottom step. That will be 3, and we'll come back. I'm sorry, that's 2, and then we do 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7 finally. So that will be the sequence. We're going to perform our actions, and that will be consistent through every step that we go through. And the other thing to think about is that our line in one view will become a point in the opposite view, and then that point will become a line, and that line will become a point as we ping pong back and forth. And I will be shading in as we go in a blue color so you can see better. And I think you'll find this is going to go much easier. We're going to start with number 1. We're going to intersect on the ground plane. I'm just going to kind of indicate first. I'm not going to take time to color it all in until the very end. What happens is we have this point where that shadow on the ground plane is intersecting the vertical plane. And we're going to bring that up to our number 2 step, and we know that the point will now become a line. And of course, that same point, because it's vertical, when we throw it back to this point, we come right back to where we started there. And then as we go through number 3, notice how on the elevation view we can only come over this far. So I'm going to keep an eye up here while I trace up here, and then right about there, that's the final. This point up here becomes a line there. And that's our transition moment when the shadow's extending out and now it's going to start coming back in. And as we go up to number 4, we know that we've already gone out to this farthest extent. So all that's going to be shaded in. Come back down here for number 5. Even though that shadow is potentially still going out, this shadow says we're coming back in. And once we turn that corner and move from going outward to inward, we're going to keep going inward. We're not going to jog back and forth. So what does that mean? That means we're going to follow up until 4 reaches this point, and that point now becomes a line down here. And as we go vertical on 5 up here to number 6, it's of course leading us back to that same one that we started there. And where number 6 leaves off, that point then becomes a line on number 7. And we can confirm that and check that it's a line because this abutment in the elevation view is staying up above the steps. And so as it travels back, it will continue to cast that shadow. I just darken this line in to make it more of a visual obvious. And then going in and filling in. pretty direct. The trickiest thing was cutting off that little tip right there. And hopefully following that sequence and remembering that lines turn into points and points turn into lines, hopefully that will make this whole system so much easier.